Hey YouTube, this is TCA Gaming. I have some purchases I want to show you guys, some pretty cool stuff that has just come in, some exclusive items, some pretty tough PSAs, and I'm also going to show you a few submissions that are going off to PSAs, people that asked specifically for their stuff to be shown on here. So I'm going to start with, this should be, I believe his name is Andrew. I just have his email on the outside of this package, but he had actually sent me some bulk as well. I want to thank you again, Andrew, for that. You sent a lot of that in. I really appreciate it. It always helps out. But here's his submission. He had 26 cards. He also had me raw review all 26 of those cards. Pretty much what I do is I charge $2 per card and I give my grade estimation. And you know, this way, if you have a card that's going to get, say this Savali is going to get a 7 or a 6 or something like that, then you might not want to grade it, and then we can just take care of that submission fee somehow. If you've already paid for it, I can either refund it or put it towards shipping or something like that. But for the most part, almost all his cards were 9, 10, and a lot of them were. There were some that were 9s and 8s, but I don't think there was anything below that. But you can see right here we got some Hidden Fate stuff. Got the gold cards, which every time that I've put up PSA 10 gold cards on my eBay, they've sold instantly. Like, I haven't been able to keep them more than a day. Sylveon Gx is another good one. I think I just sold one of those, $93.99. That one was another one that sold very quickly. Of course, this is the big card from the set. You've got the shiny Charizard GX. Price is coming down on him. I'm expecting him to continue to come down as more cards come back from PSA. But he's still very, very expensive for a set card, especially modern set card. Looks like we've got, it may have been all Hidden Fates. Let's see what else we have here. Got Shuppet, Frogadier, Pheromosa, and then Wimpod. So those are his 26 cards. I'm going to put them back into his little team bag. That's what I use to keep everything sealed up. I try not to use tape. If you're wondering where you can get team bags, you can get them from cardboardgold.com, or you can get them on eBay. There was another PSA submission. This is a guy that I met locally. His name is Daniel. He had a dream find from his neighbor, who I believe he said he sold the card, or he bought the card for $900. These are the only ones that he sent in the PSA. I ended up purchasing $1,300 worth of stuff, plus whatever the submission cost for these is the base value of the $13. So that, I mean, you would add another $169 to that, because I think there are 13 cards Daniel decided he wanted to submit himself, and then he still had loads of other stuff that he was keeping and trying to sell to his friend. But he actually met me locally, and here are some of the best cards that he wanted to submit. So we've got Dragonite from Expedition. We've got a Raichu from Expedition. Let me show you this card right here. This is one that I wanted to get off of because it looked like it was the best Expedition holo that he had. I thought it had a pretty good shot at a 10. You got the Skarmory, which of course this is the most, or was the most expensive PSA 10 in the set. You got the Charizard, which has risen quite a bit. However, Skarmory is really, really tough to get in PSA 10. I've had a guy on E4 asking me multiple times to sell me. I think he offered me $700, and that was before a lot of the stuff started spiking. So who knows what this would go for now. Next up, we have a Blaine's Charizard, first edition. Then we have a Mew from Expedition. Got a second one, and these all look great. I think they're all 8 to 10 quality. You've got the Charizard. I think we looked at this one and did a quick review on it. I believe this one was going to be an 8-9, but it'd be a strong 8-9. If I remember looking at it, it was like just a couple white dots around the edges, but very, very light. Still a wonderful looking card. Next up, we have the Blastoise, also from Expedition. Got an Erica's Venusaur, a second Erica's Venusaur, Fossil First Edition Dragonite, First Edition Dark Raichu, and then First Edition Gengar. Can you imagine finding all of these cards just packed fresh, sitting in binders? He ended up selling me most of the commons and uncommons, and he still had several hundred other holos that he did not sell me. I ended up picking up a few cards, like some of the First Edition Neo Genesis holos. I think I picked up the Typhlosions, Pichu, and a Metal Energy, and I paid up for them, especially raw condition, because if they come back as a 9, then I'm probably going to break even, but I think a few of them have a shot at a 10. We'll just have to see. So next up we have a first edition Misty's Gyarados Gym Mat 10. And then I bought that off of eBay. And thrown in for free was a Venusaur and Snivy GX tag team. And then also a signed energy card that says thanks, Rusty. And I can't remember his eBay name, but that is what he sent me. Next up, we have a first edition fossil booster box. You can see it's a little rough. It's not, you know, in really, really good condition or anything like that, but it's not in bad condition either. I picked this one up off of eBay for $3,200. I bid $3,100 on it, and then it went for $33. And then the guy didn't pay, so I messaged the seller after he re-listed. Was like, "Hey, I bid $3,100 on it. Do you want to take that, so you don't have to deal with another non-paying buyer?" And he was like, "I tell you what, I'll do 32." And at that time, I noticed there was 2 other fossil first edition boxes for sale in auction that were ending one day after this one, and they had just jumped from $3,100 to like $3,600. So I was like, you know what? That's a fair deal, so I'm going to go for it. Next up, we have a Zubat 1999-2000. I have 2 full sets of the 1999-2000 cards now. I was 1 card short, and I ended up buying the 1 card that I needed. However, Zubat was not that 1 card that I needed. I needed this card in graded condition because for whatever reason I had an entire graded set, all of the non-hollows, except for Zubat. I don't know what happened there, so I went out and bought a PSA 10 for the full value that I saw on eBay. It's like $70. And this was from my buddy, Coolers, at Pokemon Place. So thanks, bud. Next up, we have a Kabutops Gym Mat 10. And I bought this for $500. It is a 1999-2000. And the reason I bought this one was because that 1 card that I was missing from my second set was Kabutops. So what I decided to do was just go buy a Gym Mat 10, replace the 9 that I had in my highest rated set, and then I'll put this in the highest rated set and then bump the 9 into that missing spot that I had for the second set. So now I have my 2 complete sets. Still working on the Gym Mat 10 set, but complete nevertheless. Next up, we have some theme decks. Now it's not going to be just Brush Fire this time. You got Brush Fire, we've got Zap, Overgrowth, and we also got the Blackout. And I don't normally buy loose decks, but this guy was selling, and he said that they were the 1999-2000 version. And the way that you can kind of tell without having to look at the dates, it's in that really small fine print on the very bottom down there that you can't see from, you know, basically a typical eBay picture is, look right here. They don't have counters, so most of the time, I don't know if this is universal, but if it's going to have a possibility of being 1999-2000, it should not have counters there. And I believe it actually says over here, instead of, yeah, it says damage, or it says there's damage counters, but I believe it's like 10 damage, or maybe it says 10 damage counters on some. It's slightly different right there, but as you can see, there's nothing off to the left and right of this Chansey. And I think that had something to do with the toy. It was like that's a toy or a gem or something, and it would get caught up in customs. But nevertheless, you can always look down here, and you can see right there where it says 1999-2000. So again, that makes this the more rare version. I can't remember if I zoomed in on it for the fossil stuff. You can see it right there. Yeah, 1999-2000 dated Kabutops. It's really tough to find on the fossil side. Base set is not as bad. These should have the 1999-2000 hollows inside of them. But what's really tough is cards like that Charizard that I bought for $5,500. And I did buy 2 sets of these. Let's see right here, I got another one. They're not in perfect condition, but they are still sealed. So I'm going to send them to... I'm going to have them set back in my personal collection. And if you ever get like shots of the side, another way that you can tell that this is probably going to be 1999-2000 is look at this Wizards logo. You see it down there. See how it's curved? They didn't start doing that until the 1999-2000 era stuff. Let me show you. Well, if you look at like this first edition fossil box, the logos are square on it. And it should be square on most all boxes except for ones that were printed in Australia or in Europe. I think that's correct. I'm going to say that that's correct. There may be some exceptions to that, but that's where you're going to find the curved logos on those. I guess maybe that was a part of their counterfeiting process, or trying to prevent counterfeiting. That's why there was red logos on some of the jungle boxes and on some of the Fossil Unlimited boxes as well. That was just one way that they were trying to eliminate counterfeits out there, because Pokemon was having to deal with that issue, at this point. I mean, they were only a few years old. All right, next up we have a Poliwrath First Edition Neo Discovery Holo. Pulled that one for a decent deal. Glad to add that one to my personal collection. I'm going to save some else for last. This will be the most expensive individual item by $50. I bought the First Ed Fossil box for $3,200, and then I bought this for $3,250. It's crazy to think that I sold off the majority of these things for $300 to $500 a piece. Bought this one back for $3,250. And I bought it mainly because it was a 9.5 Gym Mat BGS. If it had been a 9.0 or anything lower, I probably would not have paid a premium like that. I recently sold one of these for $2,500 to Andrew, the guy on Lootbox TV, not John. I think that's his name, John. Not Juice, but Andrew, the Asian, the one who's sitting there usually providing a lot of stuff that he opens up. They're going to be here this weekend, which I'm not sure when this video airs. It may be the day before. This might be airing on Friday. They might be here tomorrow. So, and I'm sure they'll have a cool video for that. But I sold one to him for $2,500 the last time they visited, and that was my last extra. So when someone brought this up to me, and I said, I think they're worth $4,000 to $5,000. They said, how much would you pay? I said, I'd pay $3,250 because that would match the highest graded one I have in my personal collection. It is the lowest 9.5 that you can get. However, it does have that gold 9.5 label, so I like it. Then next up we have, thanks a lot for everything. You have been amazing. I look forward to future business with you. Austin, IG is Pooter. So he's got some pretty cool stuff. And I think I bought, maybe it was the Articuno off him. I can't, maybe I hadn't, but what I ended up doing was we did a trade. So he traded me this magnificent looking Aerodactyl Gym Mat 10, and I know it might seem like it's a brown label. This is actually a gold pre-release. So I now have the gold and the brown. This Gengar First Edition Gym Mat 10 from Fossil, and yes, the Dragonite. The First Edition Gym Mat 10 Dragonite. And I exchanged it for, or he traded these in for 300 submissions through PSA, just the basic $199 level. That doesn't include up charges or anything like that. So, I mean, it was roughly a $3,900 value for trade-in. And that allowed me some room, too, because I do have some profit on submitting those 300 cards. It's not a ton, but I do have some profit there. So he was able to get out a good amount, for him that he wanted, because I think I was roughly at $3,000. That's what I was wanting to pay, and he was wanting closer to that, $3,900 value or so. And honestly, if you look at the values of these cards, I mean, that's about right, especially when you consider how much Dragonite has really increased. I think that last sale for $3,500, that was shield bidding. However, there have been several sales that I know of over $1,000. Gengar, I think, is pushing that door, and I think the Aerodactyl is pushing that door as well. So I was happy to do that deal. We may do some other deals for some other high-end cards as well. I guess we'll just have to see how this goes. I'm curious to see what he wants to send in, because apparently he has a lot more than 300 cards that he wants to grade, so that's really awesome. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I mean, there's a lot of cards and different things shown here, mostly high-end stuff. And I hope you appreciated all the artworks that were shown. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll try to continue to do videos as much as I can. Thanks.